In this question, an acidic solution of Cu plus 2 salt containing 0.4 gram of Cu plus 2 is electrolyzed until all the copper is deposited. So we can calculate the number of equivalent of Cu deposited. So number of equivalent of Cu deposited at cathode will be equal to mass, that is 0.4, upon its equivalent weight. So equivalent weight of copper is 31.75 gram. So these are the number of equivalent of copper that will be deposited on cathode. Simultaneously in this process, at anode, oxygen will be released. So number of equivalent of oxygen gas O2 will be equal to number of equivalent of copper. So we can say number of equivalent of oxygen will be 0.4 upon 31.75. We can calculate the volume of O2 at STP. So volume of O2 at STP will be equal to, we can calculate number of volume of O2 at STP. We know how many equivalent are there. Volume means number of equivalent 0.4 upon 31.75. These are the number of equivalent of O2. We know the volume of one equivalent of O2 at STP is equal to 5.6 liter or 5.6 decimeter cube. So we can say the volume of O2 at STP of 0.4 divided by 31.75 equivalent will be equal to multiply by 5.6 decimeter cube, or we can say if we convert it into liter milliliter, so 5600 ml. So that is the volume of O2 released at STP in first process. In this question, it is given that we are doing for 7 more minute electrolytes. Now if we perform for 7 more minute electrolysis, so if we perform 7 more minute electrolysis, then what happen, actually all copper will be finished. Copper is already finished. So we can say only water is present in the solution. So H2 and O2 will release at cathode and anode respectively. Because all copper is finished, so only hydrogen and oxygen will release at cathode and anode. Now we can calculate the number of equivalent of hydrogen and oxygen, because we know what is the charge we are passing. We are passing charge means Q, that is equal to I into T, means I is 1.2 ampere and T means 7 minutes. 7 minutes will be equal to 420 seconds. So that is I and that is T. So that charge will come in Coulomb. So it will be equal to 504 Coulomb. We can convert this charge into Faraday. So if we convert this charge into Faraday, then we will get 504 upon 96500 Faraday. So this charge we are passing after the finishing of all copper. So this charge will able to release number of equivalent of H2 is equal to number of equivalent of O2, that is equal to number of Faradays passed through the solution. Number of Faradays passed through the solution. Now number of Faraday are 504 upon 96500. So these will be the number of equivalent of O2 and as well as number of equivalent of H2. So number of equivalent of O2 is equal to 504 upon 96500. We can calculate the volume of O2 at STP. Volume of O2 at STP in second stage. Second stage means when we are performing electrolysis after finishing the all copper, means for 7 more minutes, then volume of O2 at STP will be equal to 504 upon 96500 into volume of 1 equivalent of O2, that is equal to 5.6 decimeter cube, or we can say 5600 ml. So we can calculate the volume of O2, that will be equal to 29.24 ml. So that is the volume of O2 in second stage, means for when we are performing our electrolysis for more 7 minutes. Hence we can also calculate similarly we can calculate the volume of H2 at STP. Volume of H2 at STP will be equal to number of equivalent of H2 means 504 upon 96500 multiplied by volume of 1 equivalent of H2 at STP, that is equal to 11.2 decimeter cube, or we can say 11200 ml. If we calculate it, we will get 58.49 ml. 58.49 ml. Correct. Hence we will get in starting, first of all we will get the volume of O2 will be equal to 70.55 ml. 55 ml, that is the volume of O2 at STP in first stage. In first stage means when copper is present. If copper is finished, then volume of O2 will be 29.24 ml and volume of hydrogen will be equal to 58.49 ml. Now we can calculate the total volume during entire electrolysis. So total volume of gases during entire electrolysis. So first of all, volume of H2 evolve. Volume of H2 evolve will be equal to 58.49 ml. 58.49 ml. This H2 will evolve just when all copper will be finished. Then this hydrogen will be evolved. And volume of O2. Volume of O2 evolve. Volume of O2 evolve in two stages. In first stages, when copper is present, then volume of O2 will be equal to number of equivalent of copper. So that volume is 70.55 ml in first stage. In second stage, when all copper is finished, then the volume of O2 is 29.24 ml. 29.24 ml. So total volume of oxygen will be equal to 99.79 ml. 99.79 ml. So that is the volume of oxygen liberated during entire electrolysis.